Good morning. Welcome back. It is Tuesday. I'm back. Jason Sukamel is here. I'm at 100%. Jason, you are not at 100% though, are you, man?
Yeah, go figure on where I stalk the airport all day Friday, and then on Sunday I'm there, and I work all night Sunday night. And listen, that's part of the gig. I'm not complaining about that, but I woke up Monday morning, and dude, it felt like I had razor blades in my throat, and I'm all congested. So I'm hoping it's just a cold that's going to go away. We're gonna power through and make this work today, man. So.
Okay, man. I'm sorry. Yes, because you were keeping up. So let's be clear, because we don't want to get you in trouble with TSA or anything like that. Like you were looking for recruits, right? Let's just
Yes,
clear.
exactly.
We're in a weird time nowadays, Jason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking for recruits who are flying out, flying in town and then flying out of town on Sunday. It's funny you say that because I was talking, there's like 4 or 5 media guys down there doing the same thing on Sunday. And I forget what the context it was, but I was like, we were talking about football or something. I was like, yeah, man, they just threw a bomb out there. And I was like, oh God, I got to watch my language. And I'm down here at the airport, like a very deep pass is what I meant. So
yeah. By the way, I'm always curious, Jason, when you do this, right? There's so many places you can drop a recruit off potentially because it's different airlines and stuff. So how do you figure this thing out? Do you just stay in the middle and then you're like, oh, Southwest over here or Delta's over here? Like, how do you figure that out?
Yeah, there's a little bit of all of it that goes into it. So I don't want to give away all of our
Okay,
tricks.
don't give all your secrets.
Texas will start outsmarting us. And plus, now you got upper level and lower level they can drop off on too. Yeah, you kind of know, like, okay, this guy's flying to Orlando. He's probably going to be on Southwest. He's going to be on this flight. Sometimes we even have what time these guys will be flying out. They tell us. So we look for that. And the other thing, Anwar, is just it's pretty obvious when Texas pulls up in these big ass SUVs. That's what they always drop these players off in. So anytime I see a Ford Expedition or a Jeep Wagoneer, I'm like, okay, let's see who's coming out of this one. Now, if they drive past me, then I got to kind of walk and stalk and watch them. But yeah, some guys do slip through the cracks. That happens. But for the most part, we're able to, identify most guys and get them. But it's a long day out there, dude. I mean, we're out there for 5 or 6 hours. It's 100 degrees, because we're outside of the airport. We're not in the airport on Sunday. So, and then what's crazy this Sunday, and I know this is not what you brought me on to talk about, I'll be out there all day Sunday. And then I fly out Sunday night from Austin to Indianapolis for the Rivals 5-star.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is next week. So I'm not even going to come home. So I'm going to be out there baking for like 6 or 7 hours. I literally went on Amazon and ordered these like wipes. They're like a shower wipe that you have to go into the bathroom stall, wipe down, change my shirt, and then get on a plane so I'm not grossing out the people sitting next to me on my flight to Indianapolis.
Jason, you need to get one of those. You know what you got to get, Jason? One of those fans that go around your neck. You ever see those things?
My mother-in-law has one. They work awesome, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get one of the. I'll say this, and we'll get into the topics. As a soccer dad, when my son played basketball, I loved it. So it was inside. It was great. My life was great, Jason. And then he started playing soccer. And I was outside. I'm like, man, it's hot as hell out here. And I had to figure out, okay, what are some of the tips? The fans around the necks, it ends up being a good one, for me. And the other thing you should do, Jason, real quick, is get yourself like a little portable cooler. Put some water in there and then ice, and then put some cloths, like face cloths in there. And then when you get super hot, all you just got to do is just put the coldness on you, and just put that thing in your car before you head out. So
yeah, I've done that at baseball games. Yeah, the cold.
There you go, baby. I got
you. I'll still be stinking on Anwar by the end of the day. I've still got someone in the chat said, Rodolfo, get some dude wipes. That's exactly what I ordered. Rodolfo's dude wipes. So yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Speaking of dudes, man, let's talk about Texas, man. Because it's been a long time, Jason. We haven't talked in a hot minute, so. You've had there's a lot of cool little updates that you've had over the last couple of weeks. And the theme of the show is just basically, because Jason, we're kind of getting to that point where I would say, we're in mid-June. Texas will start getting guys in June and July. And then things will start slowing down once you start getting into August and kids start going back to, their football seasons and getting ready for that. Then they'll start setting up officials and all this kind of stuff. So the next, what would you say, like next month and a half from an early recruiting standpoint, midway recruiting standpoint, is kind of a big one, right? I think that's fair to say, Jason.
Yeah, I think really by the end of July, the heavy lifting of this class will be done. I mean, I think that I won't say it's full. There's always going to be room for a couple late guys, but by and large, 90% of this class will be on board by the end of July. I mean, this is the last weekend of official visits. Dead period hits Sunday night at midnight. All of the last week of June, all of July, August are dead period. So you're right, Almar. These past 2 weeks, this next weekend coming up are huge for official visits. Then I've got a calendar. I've got it right in front of me with all these commitment dates. You got starting June 21st, but then all through like July, and a couple guys, even the first week of August, already have commitment dates lined up. So July and the first part of August are about, hey, you've done the recruiting part of it. Now let's see where these guys end up choosing. And truth be told, you got a guy like Jamarian Carlton on July 10th. I mean, he probably knows where he's going.
Yeah.
Caden Finley, July 4th. I mean, he probably pretty much knows where he's going, or has a pretty good indication at this point. It's not like it's very rare that the day before these guys announce, they're going to be still trying to decide. So, July will be a busy month, not for visits like we've been doing this month, but for commitment stories.
But so, Jason, I'm also kind of curious too, because so much has changed, and NIL is there. I'm just curious, Jason, a guy who commits in June, a guy who commits in July, just as an observer. I'm an observer. Your boots on the ground, but as an observer, how much should I really be caring about this? Because at the end of the day, if someone else wants to offer a kid more money in NIL in late November or December, whatever the case may be, I mean, these the commitments are worth the paper that they're written on at this point, which is pretty much nothing, right? So, I mean, I just want to, I know we're going to pay attention. I know we're going to care, but I want to know, like, in the back of my head, should I be saying, yeah, but ...
No, I think if you're a Texas fan, you should care. I mean, if Texas gets a commitment, they got 5 2 weeks ago after that first round of visits. They'll get a bunch in July. Those are usually going to stick. I mean, Texas doesn't lose a lot of guys late to other programs. Now, if you're other programs, you may want to worry about Texas poaching some of your guys late. Texas inevitably will come in, and poach 2, 3, 4 guys late in the process. Or a guy like Justice Terry that's uncommitted and doesn't decide until December. Those guys are few and far between, though. But I think if you're a Texas fan and the guy commits to Texas in July, celebrate it, man. If KJ Edwards commits to Texas on August 2nd, celebrate it, because the odds are overwhelmingly high he's going to stick with Texas. Okay. Texas just doesn't lose a lot of recruits unless it's usually a mutual parting of ways. It's very often, or very inoften, that a guy commits to Texas and then just says, what, after a couple months thought, that's just not for me. I'm going somewhere else. Usually it's a mutual decision. Maybe Texas recruits over him or something. But I think you should still be very excited if you're a Texas fan if some of these commitments come in July.
Michelle threw something in here, and I hadn't really planned on that, but it is kind of interesting there. Just want to know, she wanted to make sure she didn't miss the Lamar Brown discussion. Interesting things with him and Texas A&M, Jason.
Yeah, him and everybody. Yeah, so he visited Texas 2 weekends ago. He canceled. There's so much going on. I think it was it Florida State? I don't even remember. I think it was Florida State. But anyways, he canceled it, visited Texas. I heard coming out of that Texas visit, Michelle, Almar, people who spent time with Lamar Brown, 5-star defensive tackle Lamar Brown, said, hey, he's going to go to Texas. We feel really good. He's going to go to Texas. I said, okay, you're feeling good coming out of that visit, but he still has Texas A&M. He still has LSU. Those have been the longtime front runners. Okay, he visits A&M last weekend. As you'd expect, the visit goes well. He comes out of it and says, I'm canceling my LSU visit. And I was like, that ain't happening. He's going to go. He's from Baton Rouge. He's going to take that LSU visit. Literally, Almar, within maybe an hour or two later, his agent came out and said, oh, no. He's taking that LSU visit. So, I mean, you'd be dumb not to. And I'm not calling Lamar dumb.
No.
Lamar's young and impressive. And listen, awesome kid. I've just kind of gotten to know him recently because Texas really started getting more involved there, but really nice kid, and I like him a lot. But yeah, dude, you're losing leverage if you don't take that LSU visit, right? So
Yes.
he's going to take that LSU visit. I know people who've been covering this one a long time still think, and they told me this a couple weeks ago. They said he might commit to A&M. Now maybe Texas, who knows? But he's going to sign with LSU. This is one of those deals like you said on where this is one where LSU is not going to let a guy from Baton Rouge University Lab, a 5-star defensive tackle, not go to LSU. If they're going to have to break the bank at the last minute, that's what people are expecting them to do. But Michelle, to your point, Texas A&M's in a good spot. They have been for a long time. Texas was in a really good spot coming out of that visit. And I need to follow up with him. He was maybe going to come back to Austin tomorrow. So I need to follow up with him after the show, Michelle, see if he is coming back, which then could swing things back in Texas's direction a little bit. But then he still has the LSU visit. So that one moves pretty aggressively and pretty quickly anytime Lamar takes a visit or possibly doesn't take a visit. But bottom line, LSU still feels good. A&M feels good. There is some confidence behind the scenes that Texas is a much stronger player in this one than I think the average fan or maybe even some other media members think. I think Texas has a better chance than people realize.
I mean, that was going to be, fascinating to watch over the next couple of weeks. Like you said, Jason, the one thing you don't want to do is say, I'm not visiting something. Like, no, you want as many offers on the table as possible.
And he has, of course, he already has the LSU offer, but you want, you're talking probably NIL offers. Exactly. Yeah. And you go to LSU, then maybe A&M bumps their offer up, maybe Texas does. And then, it's kind of like, I was out buying a car. I always try to get 2 or 3 dealers battling against each other, trying to get the price down, right? Well, if you're job hunting, you're trying to get 2 or 3 different people battling to get that price up. So that's what Lamar and everybody else is doing. He'd be crazy not to go to that LSU visit.
Jason, I know we kind of chatted before we came on, and we don't have to spend a lot of time with this, but I do want to just quickly just brush over it real quick because 2027 Texas seems to be all in on Peyton Houston. And then they recently go out and they offer Kavion Bryant, an offer. But it's interesting because they brought in Phillip Rivers' son just a couple of weeks ago, and people thought, maybe he'd come out of that with an offer. He didn't. It's really interesting because there seems to be some smoke with Peyton Houston and Oklahoma. There is it potential that Texas is pivoting a little bit with Kavion Bryant? And just saying like, hey, we just want to examine our options just in case Peyton doesn't come here. I'm just kind of curious what your take may be on that. The only reason I bring it up for people maybe wondering is that usually quarterbacks, that would be in 2027 would probably commit around this summer. So, it does become a relevant conversation.
Yeah, it's been a slower quarterback recruiting cycle for 2027 than we're used to, right? Diabell committed super early, KJ Lacey, Trey Owens. Interestingly, I'm going to see, I mentioned going to Indianapolis for the Rivals 5-star. Peyton Houston will be up there. So I want to talk to Peyton and be like, hey, and I've talked to him before, but like, what are you thinking on this timeline? And you're taking a little bit slower than, a lot of quarterbacks have in the past in your stature. So kind of, what are you thinking here? So they offer Kavion Bryant. He goes to one of their elite camps from Palestine Westwood. Great. Texas already offered him as a basketball player. This guy's a phenomenal athlete. They offer him as a quarterback. And you mentioned Gunnar Rivers. He came in. Gunnar is so guarded, Anwar. He and his camp, like, they don't broadcast offers. I talked to him after the camp, face to face, and he didn't say they didn't offer. He didn't say they did. He just said, well, I can just tell you they're very interested. So, I mean, for all I know, he might have a wink, wink, nudge, nudge offer kind of behind the scenes, but he didn't come out and say it. So it's kind of he is a hard one to kind of figure out. And I think that's by design. But, Peyton Houston has been the guy for Texas. He was at that same camp that Gunnar Rivers was at. Different one than Kavion Bryant. Kavion came in for a midweek camp. But, Peyton Houston, I know the staff likes Peyton Houston a lot. Everybody does. I mean, they contacted him the first day you could call these 2027s was this week. Texas called him right after midnight. Okay, well, so did Oklahoma. So did a bunch of other schools. But Peyton Houston, some people think may be favoring Oklahoma slightly, but he's like you and me and everybody else. Like, he doesn't know what to expect from Oklahoma. That coaching staff may be on the hot seat, in October or November, right? So, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, and Peyton's never said this, but is he not committing because he wants to wait to see what happens with Oklahoma through the first half of the season? If things are going well, then he may commit to Oklahoma. If things are not going well, then does that open up for Texas or USC or LSU or some of these other schools? It's a tough one to kind of pin down. Then you got the Gunnar Rivers situation, which that one's still unclear and hard to read. Now you got Kavion Bryant. How hard are they going to push for him while Gunnar Rivers, while Peyton Houston are still out there on the table? It's a weird recruiting cycle. Texas normally at the quarterback position has their guy in mind. He's clearly the top guy. They get him locked in pretty quickly. That hasn't happened in 27. It's having some ripple effects, from Peyton Houston to Gunnar Rivers to now Kavion Bryant. A couple other guys came in hoping to get offers. They didn't get offers. So it's tough to really predict on how that 2027 quarterback cycle is going to work out. I think it'll be one of these three guys that we're talking about, but I do think that there are some unknowns with a guy like Peyton Houston that could affect the other guys. So, it's really hard to predict who ultimately will be Texas' quarterback in that class. But I think it's one of those three guys we've talked about: Gunnar Rivers, Kavion Bryant, and Peyton Houston.
And just so people, for those who may not be too familiar, Jason, I'm just going to put this up on the screen here for a second. These are his basketball offers, right? So I didn't even put up the football stuff because clearly Texas offered him in football. If you just get bored one day today or the next week and you just watch Kavion Bryant's basketball highlights, it's pretty damn impressive. But Jason, he's got Arizona State, he's got Cal, FSU. You can see he's got Stanford, Texas. It was offered him in basketball, A&M, Tech. So
national top 50 hoops player, and what do we got him? 80 national top 80 football player. So he might be the only. There's probably been another one. I'm going back to Charlie Ward or something, but the only guy I can think of that's a national top 100 in football, and I'm sure there are others, but not anybody I've ever covered. Top 100 football and basketball prospect.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, at quarterback too, Jason, which is pretty hard. I mean, that's a pretty, unique, specialized position to be able to do that and have all those options. We haven't. It probably would be since Charlie Ward, right? That we've seen a guy who is that elite
at quarterback. Yeah, and I'm thinking there's been some football and baseball guys. I'm going back like Russell Wilson and Ricky Williams and Shea Moran's back when I was in college. But football and basketball, again, I'm sure there's somebody out there, maybe somebody in the chat who can think of somebody. But as far as Texas recruiting one, no, nobody like that I can remember.
A couple more, Jason. I know you're battling through here, so I won't. You doing all right, Jason? I just want to make sure.
I'm actually doing better than I thought I would, or maybe this talking is kind of loosening things up a little bit. So yeah,
maybe I just bring sunshine and brightness into your life.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe I just have the golden touch, and that's what it is. So.
Yeah. Well, then in that case, we're going to be on the screen all damn day. So.
I just do a couple more. Felix Ojo. By the way, Felix Ojo for my Latinos, but Felix Ojo, because the J is supposed to be pronounced like an H. Felix Ojo. And by the way, Jaylee, I see your super chat. We'll get to that in a second. The crazy part about our job, Jason, and how technology has changed so much for us is that back in the day, when it was time to type a story, we were like, oh my God, I got to go home and type this thing up really fast. And nowadays, you're like, let me pull out this phone, type this thing out real quick, and then post it online. And that was you over the weekend. And we all
that was last night, actually. What even the week? Well, there's some of that over the weekend too. We have, but last night, yeah.
Yeah, so. Where you're like, oh, I got to keep my phone charged up. I keep my phone right here just because people text me during the show for some odd reason. But Felix Ojo is a guy that we're monitoring. He's obviously an elite offensive lineman that we're keeping our eyes on. He posted something. I think, was it him who posted something this weekend with Trevor Gooseby, or was it Gooseby that posted that photo?
Yeah, Felix posted it. Yep.
So he posted that, hanging out with Trevor Gooseby. Big guy, by the way. I mean, Gooseby wasn't in his cleat spot, but nonetheless. But what's the latest?
If you look at that picture, Elmore, and we'll get, but they're about the same size. And you and I have seen, and I've seen Felix a bunch too. But I mean, Trevor's a big dude, so that just shows you how big Felix is. So.
Yes, that's why I said like, oh man, this is a pretty big dude right here. When he stood side by side, I'm gonna find it real quick. Right as you're talking, but nonetheless, as I look for it. What's kind of any good news coming out of this weekend?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say this. I always get I don't want to call it man crush because these are not men yet, but like Felix is quickly moving up my list into. Like,
I know why.
All time. You know why? That's right, Omar. So, he really is just like I talked to some people who spent time with him during the Texas visit, and they're like, he's very down to earth, but very confident. And I was like, that's a really good way to describe him. Like in my conversations with Felix, he's respectful but confident. Yeah, there's the picture of him and Trevor. So, and Felix has a helmet on and this, that, and the other. But Trevor's more filled out. Felix is 6'7", about 280. But that just shows you what kind of frame he has. This guy has an NFL frame all the way. Yeah. But so Felix visited Texas this weekend, and he'd kind of been, I don't want to say ghosting me and every other media source, but I don't think he had talked to anybody. And this was as of Monday night. So last night, I'm actually up in Georgetown, Texas. My daughter's at gymnastics practice. I'm running some errands on where I'm in Home Depot, and Felix calls me back. And I'm like, oh, man, Felix, I'm actually in Home Depot. Can I call you back in like 15 minutes? He goes, yeah, that's fine. So I called him back. I had my laptop with me. I'm sitting in my truck. I'm so experienced at this, Omar. People think I'm a nutcase. I go out and I start my truck because you got to have the air conditioner, right? And then I walk around and sit in the passenger seat because I can't sit in the driver's seat because the steering wheel gets
there. Yeah.
So I sit in my passenger seat by myself for like an hour at a time, an hour or more at times. But so I call Felix and I said, wow, technology is amazing. I'm on Bluetooth and I'm typing as I'm talking to him and got a good update from Felix. And I still need to work the full update into a story, but I did post the highlights on Orange Bloods. He spent a lot of time with Trevor Gooseby, he mentioned. He mentioned there's several other offensive linemen. Nick Brooks, he spent time with. Andre Kojo, he spent a lot of time with. Obviously, he spent a lot of time with Kyle Flood. And Coach Flood, he said, man, I love the way he laid out the plan. He had showed him before. He said, but I got a lot more detail this time about, hey, here's how we see you developing, kind of on that Kelvin Banks path. Now, you're probably not going to start day one like Kelvin did, but you come in, you back up Trevor maybe for a year, then you slide in. And, who knows, Felix, we'll give you that chance to compete, or maybe you do right tackle first year and then you slide to the left tackle your second year or whatever. But there are going to be a lot of opportunities for early playing time, and Felix likes that. He's going to Utah this week. And I said, how'd that come about? Because he canceled his Oklahoma visit and he's now going to Utah. He said, well, I've actually got a lot of friends from the Mansfield area that are in the Utah program. They wanted me to come up. Utah just offered. He does like the mountains. I remember him telling me that after he visited Colorado. He's like, I'm not going to Colorado, but the mountains were awesome. But the big deal I asked him yesterday, I said, all right, Felix. I said, you don't have to give me a list or anything, dude. But I said, just put it in your words. Where does Texas stand coming out of this weekend? I kind of knew Texas was the team to beat, but it was interesting to hear him say it on the record. He said, Texas is the team to beat. I don't see Utah overtaking Texas. I don't know what Ohio State or Michigan could do at this point to overtake Texas. He's already taken his visits there. He's planning on deciding maybe mid-July, early to mid-July. Could push it all the way to early August at the absolute latest, he said, but most likely the first 2 weeks of July. Well, if Texas is leading right now, unless Utah does something incredibly unheard of, this looks like it's Texas's race to lose, right? That's what that's what Felix said on Monday night. So, barring some crazy change in this, and I thought Texas was a good pick all along, but to hear him say that directly last night, that Texas is the team to beat, that's obviously great news for Longhorn fans. Now, just getting through that Utah visit and then close the deal, Texas, I'm sure NIL discussions probably still will be taking place over the next couple of weeks, but yeah, it was a really good visit. Texas is in a really good place for Felix Ojo.
You said, by the way, did you just say Utah just offered him?
That's what he told me. I didn't know that. I have to go back and look.
That's wild. Then.
Yeah, he said even though they just offered me, I don't know if that means like this week or a month ago. I don't know. But he did say they just offered him. But he did also say he's been having talks with them for a long time. I think the part of the reason they just offered him, and I don't even know if he's tweeted that out. Like, let me see. I don't think we have Utah as an offer in the Rivals database. He's got so many offers. It takes no, we don't. So I think Utah just quietly kind of offered him like this week to get that visit set up. But he said they've been talking to him for a long time. A lot of times, Almore, a school, they won't offer a guy like Felix Ojo because Utah probably thinks they don't have a chance. But they've been talking to him. A lot of their players, Felix has played with going back to middle school. He's known them for years. So a lot of the players like, dude, you need to come up here and check out Utah. The coach is like, okay, he's actually serious. Whoa, that's surprising. Felix, we want to offer you. You got the offer. Come visit us. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, it's kind of weird how this one went down. But, yeah, he did say they just offered him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want it just to be famous last words, Jason, but that sounds like a weekend vacation to me, Jason. Like, if I'm just reading the tea leaves here, that sounds like a young man that's like, my boys want me to come here. Well, okay, cool. I got nothing else going on this weekend.
Get away from the Texas heat. Yeah, go to Utah.
I've always wanted to see Utah, what's out there. When will I ever have the opportunity to go to Utah? Like, have you ever been to Utah?
I have. I've been to Salt Lake City. It's beautiful up there, yeah.
I hear it's great. I've never been.
If you like the mountains, it's gorgeous, yeah. And Felix does like the mountains, so yeah.
Yeah, I like go take some pictures. go put that on your social media, and then
Now, where's the school? Is it in Provo?
I believe it is. I mean,
I've never been to Provo. I've been to Salt Lake City and then hopped over to Park City. But yeah, I'm assuming there's probably mountains around the university campus, right? So.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. So it should be. Let me see. I'm just looking it up. University of Utah says it's.
I'm going to put up Jay Lee's super chat real quick.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Hey, we talked about. You might have missed it in depth. Yeah, I don't think LSU's out by any means for Lamar Brown. A&M might be the leader, but that could change. He is going to take the LSU visit this weekend, so that thing's going to probably change again. And he'll commit July 10th. He has a commitment date, but I don't think that recruitment's over on July 10th by any means. And again, I'll say it, Jay. I said it earlier. Don't discount Texas, and that I think Texas is a stronger player than a lot of people realize.
Salt Lake City, by the way, is the
university's in Salt Lake City,
and that's what it says according to Google.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have been up there.
Yeah, if my Google is correct, Jason, then it would.
Well, it's BYU's in Provo, right?
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about. Yes. I believe that's.
Well, then he's only like. Listen, if you ever want to go to Utah, Almar, it's an easy flight. It's direct from Austin.
Correct.
It's on Delta. We use points. It's free. And dude, Park City, which is the ski area, then where you really up in the mountains, it's like 45 minutes outside of town. So it's an awesome, easy trip. So yeah, Felix, go enjoy those mountains and go enjoy Utah.
All right, Jason, go enjoy the rest of your morning. So and hopefully we'll see if you're good enough to go for the podcast or not.
Sounds good, man. I think I'll be okay. I'll see you later on today.
All right, Jason. Look, Jason Sukamel feeling so much better after he talked to me. Jason was feeling sick. He said, I don't even know if I can finish this show. And look at him. He spends 30 minutes, 10 minutes all it took, and then brought the sunshine into his life. All right. So real quick before we wrap up, I know some of y'all been asking me. I've been like, man, where you been? Where's the show been? What the hell's going on? All that kind of stuff. I do appreciate all y'all who have reached out, DM me and stuff like that. Some of y'all text me. Kind of, I don't want to like put everyone's business out there who did what, but there was a few in there. So just like real quick, I'm just gonna tell you like this. I'll put it like this. I'll just make it like real simple. There's a couple of things there's some things that are going to be changing with the channel, and the old fashioned show will exist in some form of fashion. But at the end of the day, there's some decisions that have been made and or being made at this moment, and things that are being finalized. And so, y'all, let me just put it where the cows can eat it. Man, we got to get the numbers up on the show to do it 5 days a week. It just kind of is what it is. And if we don't got the numbers that justify doing it 5 days a week, then it's just for some that don't necessarily feel like it's worth the heavy lifting to do it. So be here. I'll be around. I'm always gonna be on the channel. Ain't nothing wrong. I'm here. I'll be there. And when we do some of these changes, you're still gonna see me every single day, 5 days a week, and maybe even twice on Saturdays, maybe even sometimes on Sundays. But I'll be around. I am here. Don't worry, I am here. That's why you get to hit subscribe to the channel to get the notifications, so you know when your uncle is on the channel. But 5 days, and the other thing that's kind of been talked about too is that the numbers for the recorded shows do a little bit better than the live shows. So there is kind of like that portion of it too, which is, are we doing too many lives, so on and so forth. So some things that are just kind of being worked out. But nonetheless, I ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about it. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be here in some shape, form, or fashion. Uncle will absolutely be here. Hope all y'all been doing good, man. I've been taking the kids out to different places, camps, all that kind of stuff, doing tons of traveling. And then, I think it's starting to wind down just a little bit. Sorry, Michelle. But nonetheless, well, Michelle, you know how to reach me. You can DM me. You can tell me all your clickbaity topics that are hopefully not Arch Manning's top 10. But nonetheless, everyone's trying to figure out what works best. And so I'm just kind of going with the flow as far as all that is concerned. That being said, I'll be back today, noon modcast. I don't know who's going to be on the show, but I know I'm going to be there. So y'all make sure y'all tune in for that one. And y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Remember what I always say, it's been a long time. Remember I was saying live each day like it's your last, because one day it will be. So go out and do something nice for yourself. Do something special for yourself. You absolutely deserve it. Happy belated Father's Day to the fathers that were out there. Hopefully fathers had a good time. If you were remembering one of your fathers who maybe had passed, I hope those memories were able to get you through that day. But today, go out, do something special for yourself. Trust me, I made Jason feel better. It'll make you